Jelani, you're a black man. I'm a Muslim. When you consider how black criminals and Muslim terrorists are treated, both by the legal system and by the media, and yet the January 6th pipe bomber who laid explosives in front of the RNC and DNC headquarters still walks free. We just learned today that then Vice President-elect Harris was inside the DNC when the bomb was found there. We still don't take domestic terrorism of the far-right white variety seriously in this country, do we?
No, we don't. We've seen this since the Obama administration, where they pointed out that there was this rise of white nationalist terror, and that was promptly squashed and jumped upon by the Republicans in Congress. And so great cries of outrage in response to that. And this has been what we've seen since then, nowhere near the level of alarm that we've had around the, what was the phrase they used, Islamic terror that they were trying to make Barack Obama say all the time.
Yeah, it's just so depressing, the double standards. I don't know how many times you can draw attention to it. I, as a Muslim, keep drawing attention to it because it kills me.
So you got to talk about one of the most obvious and predictable psyops of all time being ran by the mainstream liberal media in the wake of the bombshell news that the Trump FBI and DOJ has arrested the alleged January 6th pipe bomber, Mr. Brian Cole Jr., allegedly confessed to FBI interrogators that he is in fact the guy that did it. And allegedly, he also confessed that he is a Trump supporter, right? And holds anarchist views.
We were learning last night and confirmed more details this morning that Brian Cole Jr., the suspect in the January 6th pipe bombing case, confessed to FBI investigators yesterday in an interview that he planted those two devices that did not detonate in the areas around the DNC and RNC headquarters on January 5th. He was on surveillance tape, or a person was on surveillance tape doing that. He confessed that that was him. We also learned that he indicated that he was a supporter generally of Donald Trump, and also that he has been involved in basically supportive kind of social media interest in anarchist groups and anarchist philosophies. But investigators are still stumped about what his motive was. That is not yet clear. Though he's cooperating with investigators, they are not yet sure what really moved him to do this. There doesn't seem to be any evidence, I want to add, that he, at least not yet, it doesn't seem to be any evidence that he coordinated with any of the militia groups that ultimately were involved in planning the breach of the Capitol.
He appeared in court unshackled, dressed in a tan jumpsuit. His family was cheering him on. "We love you, Brian. We're here for you, baby." Cole lived with his mom at her house in Virginia, just 20 miles from Washington. Neighbors knew him as the guy that walked his Chihuahua. Apparently, he'd wear shorts all year round, even in the dead of winter. His grandmother calls him very naive and almost autistic-like, saying he wouldn't hurt a fly. But the FBI says otherwise. Apparently, all evidence points to Cole. Cole's cell phone pinged in the area around the RNC and DNC on January 5th, 2021. And his red Toyota was placed a half a mile from the bombs. So they triangulated his cell phone, pulled some credit card statements, and ran his plates. That's Detective 101 work. Joe Biden's FBI had 4 years to figure that out. And Chris Wray told Bret Baier how hard they tried.
I have enormous confidence in the team, the dedicated team that is focused exclusively on that investigation. And we have devoted loads and loads of effort into that specific investigation. And those folks, those FBI agents, analysts, and professional staff, I have total confidence in them.
Biden's FBI made excuse after excuse.
In prior COVID times, in any neighborhood, I think, in the country, if you saw an individual hooded, masked, glasses, gloves on, it would have been a red flag for any individual walking around that day. In this case, it wasn't, because of the environment that we're living in during COVID times.
The feds traveled across the country to catch every grandmother who walked through the Capitol on January 6th, but couldn't find someone in Virginia. One of the lead investigators in Biden's FBI said they couldn't track his phone because the service provider gave them corrupt data. But if the cell data was corrupt, how'd Trump's FBI use it to catch the guy?
Facts.
So 5,000 agents, 4 years, and no one investigated the guy with the bombs. But Trump's team cracked it in less than a year. Bondi said all it took was some elbow grease.
Let me be clear. There was no new tip. There was no new witness. Just good, diligent police work and prosecutorial work, working as a team along with ATF, Capitol Police, Metropolitan Police Department, and of course, the FBI.
Not only did the Biden FBI botch the case, it doesn't even really look like they investigated it. Remember, Wray dragged his feet before releasing the video.
Will you commit to releasing the full tapes to the public immediately?
No, sir, I can't make that commitment.
Congress needs to subpoena Chris Wray and make him testify under oath immediately about what did and didn't happen. But for Democrats, obviously it's all Trump's fault.
Looking at this crowd doing a victory lap when all the senior FBI officials across all key divisions have been fired for political purposes. It's a little rich that they're saying America's safer. How much earlier could we have caught this guy if resources hadn't been diverted?
If resources hadn't been diverted to locking up 80-year-old women who knit sweaters for a living. Yeah, Biden could have caught this guy earlier. It kind of feels like the media is still working with Biden officials on the case. Because first Jake Tapper says the bomber's white, and now he's MAGA.
This suspect has essentially confessed to planting the bombs, and he's told FBI agents that he is a supporter of Donald Trump.
You can't trust Agent Delanian. He was the deep state's go-to guy on the Russia hoax and the Hunter Biden laptop. In fact, you can't believe anything the media says about this case. They said the feds wouldn't catch him because he was Caucasian.
When you consider how black criminals and Muslim terrorists are treated, both by the legal system and by the media, and yet the January 6th pipe bomber who laid explosives in front of the RNC and DNC headquarters still walks free, we still don't take domestic terrorism of the far-right white variety seriously in this country, do we?
Pretty sure this guy's black. And now they're saying Cole was trying to stop the steal.
In part, we are told that he had accepted the political view of the time in 2020 that the 2020 election had been stolen. That's a view that President Trump has falsely pushed for a number of years.
Okay, the guy began building the bombs in 2019.
Facts.
He bought most of the supplies before the election was stolen. We don't know if this guy was righty, lefty, upside downy, but Judge Jeanine Pirro says he was disappointed in various aspects of the election, but it's not clear whether he supported Trump or Biden. This guy was an equal opportunity bomber, planting bombs at both the RNC and the DNC. And this is interesting. His father retained Ben Crump, otherwise known as Al Sharpton 2.0, when he filed a racial discrimination lawsuit. The dad ran a bail bonds company for illegals and sued the Trump administration, claiming DHS was screwing him out of money. Now, that lawyer is repping his son, and he doesn't even practice criminal law, which is probably why the kid confessed. Great lawyer. Something tells me this guy's a little. His grandma called him autistic. He wears shorts in the dead of winter, works part-time for his dad. The bombs didn't even work, and he kept his cell phone on him the whole night. And not only that, he bought all the bomb parts on a credit card. He even waved to a cop car the night he planted the bombs. Sounds like the dumbest bomber in America. And Biden's FBI couldn't even catch him. The whole thing stinks. This was a huge case that went unsolved for years. Kamala Harris could have been killed before she was even sworn in. A black guy almost killed the first black vice president outside of the Democrat National Committee. And the case collected dust?
None of this makes any sense. Not what this all, that man's right. All this smells fishy. First of all, if this man started buying supplies in 2019, in 2019. So he knew exactly who was going to be the president. That doesn't make any sense. He started making bombs in 2019. His grandmother says, well, we already heard it. His grandma said the boy's a little slow. That boy is a little slow. Okay, now when your mama's going to lie to you. She going to say, nah, my baby's the smartest in the world. But when your grandma steps up or your dad steps up and says, hey, this boy's a little slow, I'm going to believe it. He's walking around carrying a backpack, waving at the cops. Something's not right. Something's not right. How did it take 4 years to find him? You had all of the data, all of everything you needed. Like the woman said, there was no new information. They just used the same information that they had. I would have started off with the credit card. Start off with the credit card. This is so stupid. It kills me how people will play political games just for their team to win. Instead of doing what's best for everybody, we're just going to play these games real quick just to make sure our side wins. The people could have been killed. They will go, January 6th was already horrible, but then they'll go and arrest not the wrong people. They're a bigger fish to fry is what I'm trying to say. They're a bigger fish to fry. This guy is a big fish. And it took them 4 years. It took Biden 4 years, but the Trump administration 1 year to find this guy off of the same data. They said the Democrats said that the data was corrupted. Well, we already know that's a lie because Trump administration used the exact same data. The exact same data. And then as soon as you catch him, he's going to say, I'm MAGA? What? Why? So now, he was a white guy. And then they say, okay, scratch that. That's not going to work. Let's make him MAGA. Let's make him MAGA. Hopefully more about this will come out, but this is just nonsensical at this point. I'll see you on another video.